Hey guys, welcome back to History with Mrs. Lee. Today we are going to be covering the entire Civil War. The Civil War, we need to know the hot dates. It starts in the year 1861 and will be completed in the year 1865. Now remember, Civil War is a war within our own country. The North is going to be referred to as the Union, and representing the Union will be President Abraham Lincoln. And then his generals will be Ulysses S. Grant, and another major general will be William Sherman. The South will be referred to as the Confederacy, and their president was Jefferson Davis, and his major generals were Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. Now, looking at some of the advantages of each side, the Union had more people, more industry, more telegraph lines, more railroads, but ultimately more money is being pumped into the Union versus the Confederacy. The Confederacy, for their advantages, they're going to have the home field advantage because many of the battles will be fought in the South, and so the Southerners are going to know the best places to get the high ground. And then they will also have stronger military leaders in the Confederacy. Now, in regards to plans, the Union is going to have the Anaconda Plan. Basically, they want to blockade all of the southern ports so that the South is not able to export goods to make any money and to not get any sort of materials brought into the Confederacy, basically choking them until they will have to surrender. In the South, they're planning to just play defense, and they're thinking that it's going to be a fairly quick war and that they're going to win and that they're just going to be their own separate country. And as we can see, after 4 years of fighting, it was not a quick venture. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into our major events and battles of the Civil War. In 1861, we have FS, Fort Sumter, which is going to be considered the first shots of the Civil War, first shots fired by the Confederacy. So now the war has officially begun after the election of Abraham Lincoln and Fort Sumter. Then we get into the first official battle, which is the Battle of Bull Run. And here the Confederacy completely surprises the Union with their strength. We then get to Antietam, which is considered the bloodiest day in American history. This is where Robert E. Lee and the Confederate troops were going to try to actually leave the home field and go invade the North. And it turns out to be a really bad idea, and thousands of people die on this day at Antietam. Now, one of the survivors of Antietam was actually Clara Barton, who was a Union soldier. I'm sorry, not a Union soldier, a Union nurse who helps Union soldiers, and she will go on to found the American Red Cross. All right, now moving on into 1863, we get to the Emancipation Proclamation issued by Abraham Lincoln. Now, originally, when Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated the first time, he says, we're going to fight this war to keep our country together, keep our country united. In 1863, he passes the Emancipation Proclamation, and this says that any southern state that has slaves will have to free their slaves. Slaves in southern states will be free. Now, the people in the South do not consider Lincoln to be their president, so they therefore don't follow the Emancipation Proclamation. Also, the Emancipation Proclamation does not free slaves in the North because Lincoln as president does not have that power. Only the Congress would be able to pass a law to abolish slavery. So that's going to have to wait until we get to the 13th Amendment. The Emancipation Proclamation, though, will be important because it's now going to change that the war is going to be fought to end slavery. All right, now getting into 1863, we get the Battle of Gettysburg. And the Battle of Gettysburg is considered the turning point in the war because now the Union is going to start to win the major battles. The Gettysburg battle, though, is going to be the deadliest battle in American history. And so Abraham Lincoln is going to travel to Gettysburg, and he is going to issue the Gettysburg Address when he dedicates the cemetery there. It's a very short speech, but basically he tells the Union, we need to keep on fighting so that the dead did not die in vain, and we need to bring our country back together and protect democracy. Within a few days, we have the Battle of Vicksburg in 1863, and this is going to be a vital win for the Union. They will gain control of the Mississippi River, which will then divide the Confederacy in half, and the state of Texas will no longer be able to provide food and supplies to the Confederate soldiers. Now, during these battles, you will also meet men like William Carney and Philip Bazar. These two men are going to be known for winning the Congressional Medal of Honor, and they are Union soldiers. Julia Ward Howe would also be important during this time because she was known for writing songs and poems, and her song Battle Hymn of the Republic would be used to pump up Union troops. Now in 1864, Lincoln is going to be reelected, and in his second inaugural address, he's going to give his speech, and in his speech he includes the idea of reincorporating the Confederacy into the Union and treating them with kindness, with malice toward none and charity for all. So he wants to be kind to the South when they do rejoin the Union. Now, going towards the end of the war, we will see William Tecumseh Sherman march. It will be called the Atlanta Campaign. He's going to start in Atlanta, and he will burn and destroy everything in his path from Atlanta to Savannah to try to use total warfare to get the Confederacy to surrender faster. Finally, Robert E. Lee and his troops do surrender, and they surrender in 1865 at the Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia. Within a week, though, Abraham Lincoln would be assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, and the turn of events will lead to a very strange turn in Reconstruction, and we'll talk more about that in our next video.